All right, welcome back. Claws up, bear down. You guys, I understand yesterday the linebacker group made some people a little unhappy, and I get it because Tremaine Edmonds should be able to bounce back and have a big year, but I am trying to base these things off of how they performed last year. I'm not doing the historical like PFF, PFN, ESPN. I'm doing strictly off last year, which bodes well for someone like DeAndre Swift in the running back position because he had a career year, 1,000-yard rushing year, did very well. Jahmyr Gibbs did really very well as a rookie. Aaron Jones constantly does well, but Josh Jacobs didn't do so well last year. He had more of his down year after being the rushing leader in the NFL in 2022. He still had a lot of yards last year, but it took a ton of touches, and he wasn't really getting as much momentum as he needed to get. Small injury here or there. So Josh Jacobs, to me, is a downgrade from Aaron Jones, but a lot of other places see that differently. But let's look at where this all stems from. As many of you know, this stems from a video I did a couple weeks ago, a positional ranking overview, trying to be unbiased, the best of the best in the NFC North, which position in every single position is the best. This is the link from that video, and today we're doing the running backs. We've already done the wide receivers, defensive ends, and linebackers. So running backs today. Tomorrow will be a defensive position. In fact, maybe I'll put it off a day because we'll have Real Talk Tuesday. I'll let you guys know, but this is the fourth one that we're doing. The fifth. We'll go through all of them before training camp begins. That's where we're going with this. So this one's one of the harder ones, but this also shows how stacked the NFC North is in this regard. So if you look at what I put on my previous video, I had the Lions ranked number 1 with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. They really have a good 1-2 punch, and Jahmyr Gibbs coming in as a rookie really established himself. So the parentheses, just so you guys are remembering up to date, that's PFF's grade on them, where they graded out with PFF for all rookies throughout the year. So David Montgomery was 12. Khalil Herbert was 14. Still not getting a lot of credit, but everything about his game is very solid. Solid running back. The real weakness for the Bears last year was Deonta Foreman, and we'll get into that. A lot of fans don't understand why we benched in the last couple games. I'll get into that and make sure you guys understand that. But DeAndre Swift had a career year over 1,000 yards, but not the best grading out, which I don't agree with. So some things on PFF don't line up with reality, in my opinion. Roschon Johnson, also 48. So you see that the Bears have 3 of the top 48 in the league. That bodes really well for a committee type of approach. Aaron Jones going to the Vikings, Ty Chandler. They obviously lost Alexander Madison and Cam Akers. And then Josh Jacobs coming to the Packers, only 50th ranked last year. Like I said, he had a little bit of a down year. So Packers fans won't enjoy this video. So if there's any Packers fans tuning in, go ahead and exit now. You're not going to like this video. So A.J. Dillon, I think, is on the slump. He's on the way down. And Marshawn Lloyd, Caleb Williams, teammate from USC, is their rookie as well. All right, so how are we going to grade them? My main approach to running backs is these fourfold. Their yards per attempt, yards after contact, how well they break through and have that push. Their blocking grade, because if you have a running back, you need to have him be able to multitask and be able to do multi-roles. Blocking running backs are more valuable than ever. And then how well they receive. And we know on the Bears, DeAndre Swift is going to be huge with a rookie quarterback. He's going to give that dynamic of being able to check down. And we already know from camp that they're saying that Caleb Williams wants to know all the whys. He wants to know why they're doing A, B, C, and D to understand the system and the schemes. And that's going to bode well with running backs like Roschon Johnson, Khalil Herbert, and DeAndre Swift, because all of them are going to be good for checking down. It's going to help. If you see something, let's audible out of it. Let's be able to, and I think DeAndre Swift was among the league leaders, don't fact check me on that one, on backfield catches and his completion for them, over like 40 of them for the year. So, I mean, that's several a game, and that's going to help Caleb Williams as a young quarterback. That's going to help him a ton as he comes into the league. So this is out of 98 qualified running backs, and the qualification I gave for this to narrow it down is to have at least 1 attempt per game. So they had to have 17 attempts over the year. And really, I'm just taking the top 3 from each team. That's what I'm doing. Your top 2 are going to be your main 2. And then you're going to have a rotational guy. Injuries happen all the time at the running back position. So with all that in mind, I thought I'd bring up where the experts, and I'm putting in parentheses, have them, because they go a lot off of emotion. So you can see a little bit of variance here. Some of them have Josh Jacobs number 1. Some of them have Jahmyr Gibbs number 1. Some of them have Aaron Jones right up there among both of them. In fact, PFF had Aaron Jones above Jahmyr Gibbs and Josh Jacobs. It really varies, and that's why I want to put stats to these things. That's why I want to put analysis from last year. And I realize my analysis is not 100% foolproof and complete because I'm solely going off of 2023. I've said that from the start of all these. So this is just how they did last year, where the teams were last year, and where they're headed into the new year, where they're going forward. And that's my basis for all this. So you see Jahmyr Gibbs 8, 9, and 17, which is a little bit weird to me. Josh Jacobs at the bottom 7, 10, and 11. DeAndre Swift 15, 20, and 19. Aaron Jones 11, 8, and 14. It's a little varied. But the big thing is each one of these teams in the NFC North have a solidified, solid running back, at least one of them. Well, let's take a look back at last year's team first. We got Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, and Craig Reynolds. And I put the median at the top. So you can see right in the middle, right in the average or the middle of all of these running backs, these 98 running backs, where they kind of stood. Yards per attempt, 4.0 was kind of the average. So you see Deonta Foreman there for the Bears, 3.9, a little bit below average. And you see the asterisk. The asterisk means this player's no longer with the teams. So Deonta Foreman no longer with the Bears. Alexander Mattison and Cam Akers no longer with the Vikings. Aaron Jones and Patrick Taylor no longer with the Packers. Yards after contact, 2.86 was the median, right in the middle of all that. 53.8 is the blocking grade, is the middle of that. And receiving grade, 61.2. So this is where they all fared out. And of course, I do my little formula with it. Some things are rated higher than others, like total yards and yards per attempt are more important to me than YAC. And a blocking grade is more important than a receiving grade in a running back to me. So this is according to my grading scale. So where did they pan out in 2023? Well, the Lions were far and above number one. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, 1-2 punch, definitely the top in the NFC North. Blocking grades are a little bit low, but they have the number one offensive line in the league, so they can get away with that a little bit. So 28.23 grade on the running back. So number one, Lions. Number two, Packers last year. Number three, Bears. Number four, Vikings. And like I said, Packers fans aren't going to like this video because now let's go to where things have changed, where things are this new year. Now, I still put Craig Reynolds in there for the Lions. They might be going with Vakee, the Utah running back / multi-tool type of guy. So we'll see what happens there. But Craig Reynolds actually had decent stats for the Lions, so it's not hurting them. And then Marshawn Lloyd, the rookie for the Packers at the bottom. Aaron Jones moves to the Vikings. Josh Jacobs is on the Packers now. And this is where it all pans out. And this is where I'm saying about Josh Jacobs. Look at the very bottom line here above Marshawn Lloyd. 3.5 yards per attempt, but he was a bell cow. He got tons and tons of attempts. And really, after 390-ish attempts, you saw him start to have diminishing returns. And that's what's worrisome in Green Bay and they really don't run the same type of scheme as the Raiders either. It's going to be interesting to see how they work this out with Josh Jacobs, because Aaron Jones was the perfect fit for the Packers. That's why he did so well there. Multi-tool and really ran their system well. Josh Jacobs is not the same running back as Aaron Jones, so it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out for him. Obviously, hopefully, we hope it doesn't pan out well and it goes in favor of the rest of the NFC North. But this is where everybody stands with the additions of last year. Well, where does that rank them? And we rank them accordingly, and the Bears move up to number 2, the Vikings number 3, because I see Aaron Jones being that valuable, and Josh Jacobs did not have a great year last year as far as stats go, and that's why this is flawed a little bit, because in 2022, Josh Jacobs was the rushing leader for the league. How the Packers are going to use him is the variable here. That's what's going to be different. That's what we're going to have to wait and see. But you see DeAndre Swift coming in, 4.6 yards per attempt. Look at all three of those for the Bears there. 4.6, 4.4, 4.6. And you see the Lions up above, 5.2, 4.6, 4.4. It really puts us in tighter competition with them. And you look below Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler, 4.5, 4.5. It's a lot more leveled out than without DeAndre Swift. It really helped a lot. And the biggest reason Deonta Foreman was a liability. Look over at the blocking, 47.9 with DeAndre Swift. And then if you go back, 29.5 with Deonta Foreman. His blocking, his drops, his inability to really perform as that multifunctional running back is what got him benched at the end of the year. He did not perform well, and he was really lacking. So to be able to have DeAndre Swift fill in there, a solid receiving running back, and I think DeAndre Swift's running back, his receiving grade is down a little bit this last year than it should be as well. So I mean, that could bode well for the Bears because this is all recency on this. But that's how we've got it ranked out here. We got the Lions 1, Bears 2, Vikings 3, Packers 4. Well, how did that line up with what I said? That actually falls right in line. So we're seeing this one's the unbiased one. This is all off of using the formula and going in and according to last year. Now, I realize Josh Jacobs could have a big year. He could fit their system. I realize DeAndre Swift could have a huge year and maybe we pass up the line. Who knows? But as it stands right now, this year's new teams, based off of last year's production and how they did, this is how we have to rank it. Lions 1, Bears 2, Vikings 3, Packers 4. Packers fans, if you don't like it, go back and kick a rock in a field somewhere and do whatever you do with your cheese head on your head. But till next time, thanks for tuning in. Please hit the like button if you haven't done so. And of course, as always, bear down.